right, welcome to IBC 2024 and the show On Track with Ateliere Creative Technologies. Today I have Tommy as a guest. Tommy, welcome.
Thank you for having me. This is the second time in 3 days that I'm on a train with you, but you're getting marked down because there's no beers on this train.
There's no beers. No. I'm sorry about that. Next year we're going to work on that, more beers in the show. So, Tommy, what are you doing when you're not going by train?
I am writing about the industry, the broadcast industry, the media and entertainment industry, everything in between, disruptive technology, strategies, and trying to do that in a way that is opinionated and analytical and providing companies with not just news but strategic intelligence that they need to do business in this increasingly confusing and consolidating and tricky world. So that's kind of us in a nutshell.
That's great, and I can just say from my own experience that you sometimes are a little bit provocative.
And we a bit spicy.
And we appreciate that because there's too little of that in this industry. So I think that's a great thing. So since you are analyzing our industry, I have a couple of statements I would like to test on you to see what you think. Okay. And the first statement I have in front of me is saying traditional TV formats will be irrelevant to future generations who will prefer immersive, gamified, personalized content. What do you think about that? Is that a yes or is that a no?
Are we using the paddles?
Yes, we can use the paddles.
I'm going go.
Me too. And it's a transparent go.
Agreed. We're supposed to disagree.
Yeah, we're supposed to disagree. Okay, I said no. But let's. So why do you think that is? What do you think about this when you look at the industry and so on?
If you just said immersive, I would have gone no. If you just said personalized, I would have said no. If you just said gamified, I would have said no. But all three together, absolutely yes. I think that is the future. The future is hybrid, and broadcasters need to figure out a way to do all three of those things. Broadcasters are losing viewers left, right, and Chelsea. They need to be good at content, producing content and innovating in content, and doing that to younger audiences over streaming platforms. And the way to do that is to be more immersive, more personalized, and more gamified. Have you heard of a platform called Fish Tank Live?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, it's quite a good example. It's a very simple concept. They take the Big Brother concept, chuck a load of people in a house. These are normally kind of influencers, young influencers from Instagram or YouTube or whatever, and throw them into a house, and it's all live streamed for a few weeks. Eventually, there's a winner. But the very cool thing, we won't go into the detail of the decentralized technology behind it, but the monetization strategy is so simple because they've got subscriptions. It's all live streamed, subscription based, advertising based, merchandise opportunities that come from it as well. And the important part is that users can interact. They can send contestants what they call fish toys, send them prizes, or play tricks on them, and they've got text to speech, so they can pay money to send the contestants messages, which they blast out over speakers. And that is only a few years old, and it's already very profitable. How many live streaming platforms can say that they're already profitable? So that's my key example. And the crazy thing is that there's not enough competition. Why aren't broadcasters competing?
There's no fish tank here.
With the fish tanks of the world. There's a complete lack of competition in that world, and that's what I want to see is more innovation in that ilk.
First, now I get it why they're called fish tank, because it actually makes sense. First, they want who names a service fish tank. Yeah. Now I understand
What's the Ateliere take on that?
I think that you are very right in that. Well, put it like this. I think a problem with the industry as such is that broadcast industry looked at internet as just another distribution platform, and more or less took the same product and tries to kind of distribute that product over the internet, and kind of sees internet like a problem, because the problem with internet is that the best effort and the unicast and all of that just results in a lot of traffic, and that is difficult. And then everyone spend hundreds and millions of cycles on trying to solve those problems, when as a matter of fact, internet is the opportunity, because that is what enables this kind of fish tank products, right? So if you should look at it from the other way around. How if you know how internet works, how would you change your product to benefit internet rather than see it as a problem? So I fully agree with that. I mean, that's boring that I agree, but I fully agree that I think this kind of fish tank ideas and ideas of engaging and involving the viewer, that must be the future. All services on the internet that has, or all, maybe not all, but most services on the internet has been successful involve the viewer or the user one way or the other, right? So yeah, so I very much agree with that.
It's evident on the show floor. This is the only game show I've seen on the show floor. I've been marching around in circles for 2 days. Why aren't there more things like this?
The industry that creates the most fantastic content we have doesn't use the same technology when they are demonstrating. That's kind of funny. I have another one that says, I think it's slightly on the same topic, right? Interactivity diminishes the storytelling quality of TV shows.
I'm going to go yes.
And then I say no, just because we need to debate this, right? So you might be right, but I want to know more when you say yes. What do you mean with that?
It's kind of counterintuitive to my first answer, but that was interactivity, personalization, and being gamified. So I think interactivity, if it's not done well, can diminish the storytelling of TV shows. If it's not built well and it's gimmicky, then I think it will, because it's still quite nascent at this stage. And there's been some examples. Black Mirror Bandersnatch is my key example of how interactivity can go wrong. Black Mirror, one of my favorite TV shows of all time, did an interactive episode. You could choose the path of it, and it absolutely tanked. It was probably the worst Black Mirror episode ever because of various things, but it was limited to devices, was being one of them. And yeah, I think there's a lot of work to do. So I think yes, it can diminish the quality of TV shows if not done right. That's the summary.
Yeah, no, I think you are right there as well, and I think that there's still some thinking needed to figure out how to involve the viewer and the interactivity into the storytelling without kind of oversimplifying it or kind of almost trying to force the viewer to be. So isn't that the balance? Do you want to have the interactivity coming natural when the viewer want to be interactive, and you don't want to force it and so on. So yeah, this is a very complicated. If you're working with content development, I would propose it to spend some time on this.
Sports is a different story. I think the sports interactivity is a bit more mature. I think a lot of conversations with people here about adding interactive features to sports streaming platforms, quizzes, polls, betting. I think that's pretty essential for the future of sports, especially.
I agree, and I think the aspect with sports is that sports is very much you are within a community. Sports is kind of the ultimate or the old version of social networks. Like you hang around with people who support the same team and so on. So you want to capture that, and there should be plenty of opportunities to do that well using today's tools and internet and so on. So
multi-view is massive. I don't know if that can count as being interactive feature. Yeah, I guess it can.
I guess it can.
So multi-view is essential. Watch parties, I'm not convinced on watch parties. I don't know if they're going to last. I think there was a bit of a COVID fad.
It's very difficult to kind of mimic, if you like, the experience of sitting next to your friends drinking beers. Doing that, many tried over during COVID, right? But it doesn't become quite the same thing. So getting the sports bar feeling when you're at home is not trivial. They have some more work to do to get there. I have a final statement here that I also want to cover. That says interactivity in TV content will lead to a more fragmented viewing experience, as if we are not fragmented enough already. So you think so?
I'm probably going to agree again. I think I've agreed with all three.
And then I disagree again. So we have something to debate.
But I think as you said, it's already very fragmented, and it will create more fragmentation. But we need to bridge that gap between the phone and the TV, and that's causing that fragmentation, especially on the TV screen. Young viewers are on their phones, and a hybrid experience is needed. So why do you just disagree with that?
I mean, isn't it so that? No, actually, I think I agree. When you put it that way, I tend to agree that. But I am not sure. I think it could also actually generate a less fragmented viewer experience if you figure out how to build formats, if you like, where you can combine the experience on the phone and the TV. Because today, as you said, most young generations, they uses the phone while watching TV, but they uses the phone for something completely different. So in that perspective, it's even worse than fragmented because it's split, right? So you're spending your attention on multiple different things at the same time.
Yeah.
And I think that the way to converge this, if you could figure out how to integrate the phone experience with the TV experience, if that is possible, then you might actually...
Yeah. And the optimist in me thinks that maybe fragmentation could be good for innovation. Competition is good for innovation, consolidation less so. So that's me maybe thinking that would be a good thing.
Yeah.
For once.
Yeah, you're right. So
a little bit of optimism for you.
So it could.
Great.
So now, as a final thing, we actually thought we're gonna try to do a game show. Game show is as a TV format that has kind of disappeared a little bit in the streaming wars, where everything is about the drama and sports. So in the 70s, I guess you might not have been around back then in the UK, at least not watching TV or game shows. There was a game show called the Generation Show, and in the Generation Show, there's a part of it is a conveyor belt, and you are supposed to remember which objects passes on this conveyor belt. We're gonna do that, but you don't need to remember the objects, but you need to figure out which movie the objects are from. So you can
a
take
little
some
bit
notes.
Before my time, but I think I've got the concept.
I think that the movies are within your time, though.
Okay.
So the movies we have used is from movies that we think you should have seen them.
Okay,
so,
I'm no movie buff, but let's give this a go.
We can roll the conveyor belt and see how many you nail.
Staple skull apple. What? What? Cinderella? No, not Cinderella. What's that? I can't even see what that is. Aladdin? What's that? Indiana Jones? Cowboy hat? What is that? I don't even know what that is. Some sort of case. Oh, it? Is that it? With the balloon? Yeah, the oranges. No, what? Rose in a glass? Oh, I absolutely sucked at that.
You know what? You can think a little bit more. Tommy, great to have you on board. And,
thank you.
When we publish this, we will also post answers, so we know how many.
I'm pretty sure I'm going to come stone cold last, and I'm going to need to brush up on my movies. Less writing about technology and more watching movies, apparently. So yeah, thanks for having me on.
Thank you.
That was great.